So let us try to analyze the reason behind this incident using Bhrigu Chakra Paddhati. As per Bhrigu Chakra Paddhati, we know that first house corresponds to the first year, second house corresponds to second year, and so on and so forth until 12th house, which corresponds to 12th year. Since there are only 12 houses, so 13th year would again come to first house. So accordingly, calculating that the 78th running year of independent India would correspond to 6th house of the birth chart. So this is the 6th house activation year as per the Bhrigu Chakra Paddhati. And we know that the chart of independent India is a Taurus ascendant whose lord is Venus, and 6th house is also the sign of Venus, which is Libra. I have marked it here in the circle. Now let us see further associations with the 6th house. The 6th house is owned or lorded by the planet Venus. Venus is the lord of the 6th house, and it is sitting in the 3rd house of neighbors. So Venus being the lord of the ascendant as well as the lord of the 6th house, which is activated this year as per Bhrigu Chakra Paddhati, he is sitting in the 3rd house of neighbor and 3rd house of parakram, courage. So even the 3rd house gets activated because it is being occupied by the lord of the 6th house, which has been activated as per the Bhrigu Chakra Paddhati system. Now, another interesting fact is that this planet is not alone. Venus is not alone. There are other planets. There are other planets sitting there. One is Mercury, who is the lord of the second and the fifth houses. And at mundane level, here it signifies economic regulations, taxation shifts, and strategic intelligence upgrades in defense policies. This is in the context I'm talking about. And when we talk of economic regulations and taxation shifts, it can be understood or considered as the activities which are going to affect the neighbor economically. Next is Moon. Moon, who is the lord of the 3rd house, it is sitting there itself. So here it is enhancing the media influence, public reactions, diplomatic turbulences with the neighboring countries like Pakistan. So this is the clear indication that by the virtue of the activation of the 6th house, 3rd house of neighbor has got activated. The next planet sitting there is the Sun, which is the 4th house lord. Here it symbolizes, being the 4th house lord, it symbolizes internal security challenges, opposition politics, and potential domestic unrest or pushback. So this is how the presence of Venus is in fact attracting the influence of the lords of various other houses also. So almost all the houses of the chart are getting activated because the lord of the 6th house is sitting along with them. One more and very important planet, the lord of the ninth and 10th house, which is Saturn, is also sitting there. Here, Saturn is sitting as the Lord of ninth house of Dharma and 10th house of authority. So here it is creating a powerful connection between judiciary, dharma, government, law enforcement, and ideological and leadership challenges. This will also result into potential reforms, the judicial scrutiny or policy inertia in India's governance structure. Now, here in the given context, we have to consider the legality in terms of international relations, not the internal matters only. So, in the given context, obviously the international regulations, that is the body called the United Nations, would try to exert its own regulations and pressures on India. So, as the Lord of the ninth and tenth houses, the Saturn's influence would extend to philosophical or ideological matters and practical governance. Rahu. Rahu is acting as a catalyst for sudden foreign policy changes. It is because Rahu is co-lord of the 10th house. So, and as such, it is also sitting in the Lagna ascendant in the natal chart. So, being the planet sitting in the first house of the natal chart, Rahu would always exert its influence because anything is happening, it's happening to the ascendant. This is the rule of the astrology. So, what Rahu would do is like it will catalyze the sudden foreign policy changes and unorthodox leadership decisions. And we know that government has taken unorthodox decision. They have cancelled the water treaty, which has never happened in the history of independent India. Even during war, it was not cancelled. So the stance of the government is entirely different and unorthodox in a sense. And Rahu indicates ideological confrontations, and because of which there could be some ripples in international relations. So, in the given context, it will affect India's approach to border disputes and diplomatic negotiations with Pakistan, and there will be an element of unpredictability. So, considering all these, uh, the this entire cluster of planets, which is getting activated in this year, the natal chart creates multi-layered tensions between various domains of national life. It is something like this because sixth house is as such the house of problems. The concentration of planetary energies manifests as complex interactions between media discourse, that is the third house where Venus is sitting, political oppositions, that is the fourth house represented by Sun, military matters, obviously it is related to the defense system, and judicial forces. Now, judicial forces, as I said earlier also, it relates with the international systems like United Nations. We should consider this in that context because it is a mundane astrology example. So when these energies align in certain configurations, they can trigger significant events. Very significant events are likely to happen because of this development. And it can create a flashpoint in India and Pakistan relations. Now let us consider the transit also. We have uh, taken into consideration the natal chart. Now let us consider the transit also. The transit of 22nd April 2025 when this incident took place. Jupiter is sitting in the first house, that is the ascendant or Lagna. and from where it is aspecting the fifth house of strategy, seventh house of foreign matters, ninth house of legal judicial systems, as well as the Dharma, the religion, and thus it is triggering strategic recalibrations and potential foreign confrontations. As such, Jupiter is Lord of the eighth house, so it is going to bring some pain and big changes in India's way of thinking and behavior when it comes to foreign affairs. More importantly, Jupiter is not sitting alone there. If we consider the natal chart, Rahu is sitting in the Lagna. So, Jupiter, who is carrying the energy of the 8th house, 11th house, and 6th house, is now getting connected with the Rahu, which is there in the natal chart. So, it is making a Guru Chandal yoga while sitting there. So, Jupiter and Rahu again are creating a negative combination, and that too in the ascendant, and ascendant is the head, and we know this incident has taken place in Jammu and Kashmir, the state which is at the top in the map of India. Second, an important planet because it is the lord of the sixth house, which is activated this year as per BCP, is Venus. Venus is sitting in the 11th house, and thus it is suggesting public engagements, alliance building, media narrative shaping. And it is also aspecting the fifth house, which may bring publicized leadership reactions. The third important planet is Moon because it is the lord of the third house where natal Venus is sitting. Now, we know that Moon is sitting in the ninth house of Dharma. We know Moon represents the neighbor. So, as a representative planet of Pakistan, it has entered into the house of Dharma of India. So, as such, it is kind of clear indication why this event was rotating or hovering around the religion of a particular community. We know that Hindus were killed. They were asked about the religion they belong to, and then they were killed when the terrorists came to know that they are not Muslims, they are Hindus. They killed those, and about 30 people lost their lives. So it is clear that the transit was also well connected because Jupiter had aspect on the ninth house. And another fact is that Moon was being aspected on that particular day. It was being aspected by Mars, who is the lord of the 12th house of foreign matters and a 7th house, which is a Marak house for the Taurus ascendant. Another planet which was influencing Moon on that particular day is Ketu. Ketu was sitting in the fifth house and giving aspect to the Moon. And Ketu is also the co-lord of the seventh house Scorpio sign. So again, it was giving a push to the uh, intentions of Moon. So as a result, the impact that is going to be, and we have already seen that, is that there is a military vigilance which has been increased. The military preparedness is given a big focus, and the potential retaliation operations along the border region are taking place. We already know that the houses of the people who were involved in this incident or those who supported them are being demolished, and the culprits are being searched. And the next activity which is going to take place or which is taking place is the intelligence operations. Jupiter being the lord of the eighth house, it also indicates intelligence. So the covert intelligence activities and enhanced border security measures to prevent further incursions or attacks from across the border, it has already been initiated. And media engagement, again the third house effect. The heightened media coverage, public pressure for action, strategic narrative building around the national security concerns and threats, all these are taking place. So there is nothing to predict here, but it is an evidence that whatever is happening, it is directly related with the activation of the sixth house of pending karma. Now, the interesting thing is what is that big thing which will happen? So, diplomatic breakdown, yes, the planetary combinations indicated and it has already happened that there is a suspension of talks. It is already going on for so many years, but in the given context, again, there is no talk going on. The tensions have escalated. There is an increased military posturing at the both sides of the border. There is an international involvement. Mediation attempts, they are going to take place at some stage, but initially the international involvement is of the other kind. India has already appraised many nations about the involvement of Pakistan in this incident and its resolve about bringing the culprit to the justice. So this has been conveyed, and many of the countries like USA, Russia, Israel, and many other countries they have supported India's stand. So the activation of sixth house in India's chart suggests the significant escalation in tensions between India and Pakistan. Sixth house is breaking of relationships. We know that. Diplomatic channels may break down temporarily. In fact, they are already broken, but talking in the context of the planetary suggestions, the diplomatic channels will break and nations would adopt aggressive stance. One because of being victim, other as a reactionary measure. Rahu's influence introduces an element of unpredictability, including possible proxy involvement or external ideological interference from other nations with interest in the region. This could further complicate bilateral relations and resolution efforts. So this is something very important from Indian perspective. The other long-term implications that are going to happen are judicial response. Now, let us be clear, when I'm talking about the judicial response, it is not about the judicial system of India. Of course, in the internal context, it is there, but here, for the given context, the judicial system refers to the regulations and rules of United Nations and bodies like that. So the legal framework and judicial decisions shaping national security policy. In fact, those policies will affect Indian policy and there will be a reshaping of the policy. Governance shift. Administrative and policy changes in response to security challenges. Obviously, because the there is a firefighting for the time being, but there has to be a policy for future. So it is like learning from the experience and taking measures to prevent any negative impact in the future. There will be international posture, the diplomatic relationships between various countries with India and Pakistan. The international posture, the relationships are going to be recalibrated because of this. So many countries would be supporting India, many may be supporting Pakistan, many may be deciding to remain neutral, but definitely there is going to be a shift from the traditional stance of various countries as well as of India. And defense policy evolution. There will be an evolution of defense policy because of this particular incident that will affect the border strategy and military preparedness for the coming times. So, as a conclusion, it is a karmic turning point because sixth house is the house of pending karma. So, some pending karma is being completed with this year activation as well as the transit. This event of Pahalgam represents the karmic energies that have been building in the India-Pakistan relationships. And now, this is also a critical inflection point. The sixth house BCP activation combined with the intense planetary conjunctions. We know that there are so many planets sitting in the 11th house these days, and these are going to make a critical impact world over for a couple of months together. Uh, so since the transits are aggressive, these are marking a significant turning point in India's national security narrative to the world. It is also marking the transformative trajectory. So we can see here that how clearly and pinpointedly the Bhrigu Chakra Paddhati has been able to explain why this event has happened and what is there in store for the Indians and the world because of this event. I hope you have liked this video. Kindly like it, subscribe to the channel and share this with your friends. And if you want to learn Jyotish or have any query relating to Vastu, Tarot or Astrology, you may kindly contact me at the contact number given below. Thank you.